So now that we have our code hosted on GitHub and we have our Git set up locally, the final step is to get the website hosted online somewhere. And I'm going to talk about two examples, or I guess services that can do this. And one is Heroku, and the other is Amazon Web Services. So these are the two that I'll typically use, and it will change based off your use case. So Heroku is free. However, there is a downtime to your website where it will go to sleep. And if you want 24-hour availability, you'll have to pay to upgrade. So basically go through the pricing of both services and figure out what is best for you. And typically for like the 90% use case of new websites, Heroku's fine. But as you're noticing that your traffic is increasing and you might want to scale, it might become a little bit costly. So you might want to decide on switching over to something like Amazon Web Services. But again, it's up to the use case that you're having, and it can vary. So just keep that in mind. So for this demo, I'm going to link this in the details below, but follow how to set up Heroku CLI. And once that is done, you should be good to go. So to get the website hosted on Heroku, after you have the Heroku CLI set up, go to your command line and just type Heroku just to verify that everything is working. Okay, so since everything's good, Heroku has a bunch of references online, and we just want to create a simple app. So this is the command line to create an application. So make sure you're first of all signed in on Heroku using Heroku login. Once you've logged into Heroku, just follow the steps here. Simply just Heroku create, then the name of the application. So I'm going to type in Heroku create demo website, just to stay consistent with what I named it on GitHub. And that name is already taken. So much for consistency. I'm going to name this website tutorial. Great. Okay, so now set up. So now that we have the application created on Heroku, what we want to do is similar to how we push code to GitHub, which would be git push origin master. Instead, what we want to do is do git push Heroku master. So now what's happening is there's no default language that could be detected, and the push failed. So Heroku rejected that. So essentially what Heroku is going to do is look at your project and determine from the files what type of project you're trying to upload, and based off of that, set up whatever it needs to be set up to get it up and running. So it kind of does a lot of lifting for you, and you don't have to kind of go through and customize and set up servers from scratch. So the part we're missing here is we don't have any server set up, and we don't really want to set up a server since we just want to host this static file that just says hello internet. So a quick way to get around this is to go back to our project, create a new file, and we're going to use PHP for this example. So create a file called index.php. And you don't have to worry about not knowing PHP, but simply just create this file, and I'll paste this in the details below. But we're basically going to write, so when Heroku identifies that we have a PHP file, we're just going to tell it to load our HTML file. And I think that's it. So Heroku should pick up the index.php file, know that it's a PHP, and then instead of loading anything PHP wise, we're just going to route to our index.html file, which should load this. So if we save that, go back to the command line, we'll notice that we added our index.php file. Again, we'll do git add dot. So now it's staged for commit, and then we'll do git commit -m add php route to index. Great. So now if we run that command again to push to Heroku, hopefully it should pick up that it's a PHP server. Yep. So PHP app was detected. So once that finishes, you should see a link here at the end. So if you copy that and paste it into a browser, there you go. You should see hello internet, which is the HTML file we created. So that's it. We now have our local project set up. We have our source code hosted on GitHub, and we have the actual website itself hosted on Heroku. And this is all free, and you don't have to pay any monthly subscriptions. So the last step that I want to do before I finish off here is, so now that we have our code hosted on Heroku, it's also good to just do a git push origin master to just update GitHub, right? So origin's linked to our GitHub, so git push origin master. And if we go back into GitHub here and hit refresh, now we have our index.php file as well.